A billionaire stepped out of her limousine, looked at the homeless single father holding his little girl, and whispered 5 words that shocked everyone. "Will you marry me today?" People laughed. The little girl cried. But what nobody knew was that this poor father had already saved the billionaire's life years before, and she had spent 7 years searching for him. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to welcome you to our growing family. And if you enjoy emotional stories with unforgettable twists, subscribe now, because today's ending will stay with you long after the video ends. Now, let's begin. 7 years ago, rain poured endlessly over the city. Cars rushed past without stopping. On the side of the road, a young woman lay unconscious after a terrible accident. Hundreds walked past her. Nobody wanted trouble. Nobody wanted to get involved. Until one man stopped. His clothes were worn. His shoes were torn. He earned barely enough to survive. But he didn't hesitate. He carried the unconscious stranger through the storm, flagged down an old taxi, and paid the hospital deposit using every dollar he had saved for his wife's medical treatment. He never asked for her name. He simply left before she woke up. By the time hospital staff searched for him, he had disappeared. The woman survived. Her name was Isabella Kingston, the only daughter of billionaire investor Edward Kingston. When Isabella discovered someone had sacrificed everything to save her life, she made herself one promise. One day, she would find the man who chose humanity over money, no matter how long it took. 7 years later, everything had changed. Isabella now controlled Kingston International. She was one of the youngest billionaires in America. Business magazines called her the Ice Queen. Employees feared her. Competitors respected her. The world believed she had everything. But every birthday, she visited the same hospital. She looked at the same anonymous medical receipt. She searched for the same unknown hero. Every search failed. Meanwhile, across town, life had become unbelievably cruel for Daniel Brooks. The man who once saved Isabella had lost almost everything. His wife had died after battling cancer. The savings he had given away that rainy night could have paid for another round of treatment. He never blamed himself. His wife had smiled before she died. "You did the right thing," she had whispered. "Promise me you'll raise Lily to become as kind as you are." Daniel kept that promise. Every single day, he worked construction during the day, delivered food at night, skipped meals so his daughter could eat. His tiny apartment leaked whenever it rained. Yet every evening, he still read bedtime stories to 6-year-old Lily. Because to him, love mattered more than luxury. One afternoon, Daniel lost his construction job after the company closed. Rent was overdue. Bills piled up. Food became scarce. Still, he smiled in front of Lily, because children should never carry adult worries. One evening, Lily quietly placed half her sandwich back into the lunchbox. "I'm saving it for tomorrow, Daddy." Daniel pretended not to notice. He turned away and cried silently. That same week, Isabella attended a charity gala. The city's richest families gathered to donate millions. Speeches filled the ballroom. Champagne flowed endlessly. Photographers captured every smile. Outside the Grand Hotel, Daniel stood with Lily, hoping to sell handmade wooden toys he had carved himself. Security guards pushed them away. "Move. You're ruining the view." Lily hugged the box tightly. One toy slipped onto the red carpet. It rolled, stopping right beside Isabella's expensive heels. Everyone froze. Security rushed forward, but Isabella bent down first. She picked up the tiny wooden bird. Its wings moved perfectly. It wasn't factory-made. It was handcrafted with love. "Who made this?" Lily raised her trembling hand. "My daddy." Isabella looked toward Daniel. For a brief second, something felt strangely familiar, but she couldn't explain why. Instead of walking away, she bought every single toy, not for thousands, but for $50,000. Daniel stared in disbelief. He tried returning the money. I can't accept this. Isabella smiled gently. Then consider it an investment. She left. Neither of them realized. Destiny had finally brought them together. The following morning, Lily accidentally left behind the small scarf her late mother had knitted. Daniel searched everywhere. The scarf had fallen inside Isabella's limousine. When Isabella discovered it, she noticed something stitched into one corner. To Daniel, thank you for saving strangers. Never stop being who you are. Isabella's heart skipped. Saving strangers? Memories rushed back. The hospital, the rain, the anonymous hero. She immediately ordered her security team. Find Daniel Brooks. Within hours, everything became clear. The photographs, the hospital records, the timeline. It was him. After 7 years, she had finally found the man she'd been searching for. But instead of announcing herself, Isabella wanted to know one thing. Had success changed him? Or was he still the same selfless man? She disguised herself in simple clothes. No luxury, no bodyguards, no designer handbags. She visited the neighborhood where Daniel lived. She pretended to be lost. Daniel immediately offered directions. Seeing she looked tired, he invited her inside his tiny apartment. The roof leaked. The furniture barely stood together. Dinner consisted of simple soup. Daniel apologized. I'm sorry, it isn't much. Isabella looked around. There wasn't wealth. There wasn't comfort. But there was warmth. Lily laughed freely. Daniel thanked God before eating. Nobody complained. Nobody pretended. For the first time in years, Isabella felt peace. Over the next several weeks, she returned again and again, sometimes bringing groceries, sometimes helping Lily with homework, sometimes simply talking. Daniel never asked about her wealth, because he believed character mattered more than status. Slowly, Isabella fell in love, not with luxury, not with appearances, but with the man who had quietly spent his entire life choosing kindness. Unfortunately, someone else noticed. Victor Lang, a ruthless businessman competing to merge with Kingston International. He discovered Isabella's growing feelings. To him, love was weakness. He hired investigators. Soon, headlines exploded. Billionaire dating unemployed single father. Social media mocked Daniel. Television hosts laughed. Comment sections became cruel. People called him a gold digger. Parents at Lily's school bullied her. She came home crying. Daddy, am I poor because I'm bad? Daniel hugged her tightly. No, sweetheart. Being poor only means we have less money. It never means we have less worth. The next day, Daniel made a painful decision. He met Isabella one final time. You deserve someone who belongs in your world. Isabella shook her head. My world is exactly where you are. Daniel smiled sadly. If people keep hurting Lily because of me, I can't stay. Without another word, he walked away. Days passed. Isabella searched everywhere. Daniel had disappeared. He accepted work in another city. Lily transferred schools. Nobody knew where they had gone. For the first time, money couldn't solve Isabella's problem. She realized something. The richest woman in the city could still lose the person she loved. 3 months later, Kingston International hosted the largest charity auction in company history. Every major media outlet attended. Halfway through Isabella's speech, a familiar little voice echoed through the ballroom. Daddy, look! Daniel froze. Isabella froze. Their eyes met again. Silence filled the room. Isabella stepped away from the podium, ignored the cameras, ignored investors, ignored every billionaire in attendance. She walked directly toward Daniel. Then, in front of the entire nation, she knelt. Everyone gasped. She looked into his eyes. 7 years ago, you saved my life. You gave away everything. For someone you didn't even know. Today, I'm asking if you'll allow me to spend the rest of my life repaying a debt that can never truly be repaid. Not because I owe you, but because I love you. Will you marry me? Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Lily began crying. The audience waited. Daniel slowly smiled. I thought I rescued a stranger. Isabella laughed through her tears. No, you rescued your future. He nodded. Then yes. The ballroom erupted into applause. Even hardened reporters wiped away tears. Months later, their wedding wasn't held in a palace. It wasn't held on a private island. Instead, they chose the small community center where Daniel had once volunteered feeding homeless families. Every guest received a handwritten thank you note. Instead of expensive gifts, the couple asked everyone to donate to cancer research and shelters for single parents. Millions were raised. Thousands of lives changed. Lily proudly walked down the aisle carrying flowers. When the ceremony ended, she looked up at Isabella. Can I call you Mom now? Isabella knelt, wrapped her arms around the little girl, and whispered, I've been waiting to hear that. Sometimes, the richest people aren't the ones with the biggest bank accounts. They're the ones whose hearts remain generous. Even after life has broken them. Daniel lost money. He lost comfort. He even lost the love of his life. But he never lost his kindness. And in the end, that kindness brought him a future more beautiful than he ever imagined. Because true wealth will always find its way back to those who give it away. If this story touched your heart, leave a red heart in the comments and tell us your favorite moment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more unforgettable emotional stories. We'll see you in the next one.